Which is the best version of The Mist, Stephen King's novel, Frank Darabont's film, or the 2017 series? Today we'll do a complete analysis of all three versions so you can decide which is most worthwhile. And trust me, friends, this journey through the Mist universe will leave you with much to think about. There are three fascinating ways to experience The Mist. First, Stephen King's masterful 1980 novel, which laid the foundation for this terrifying universe. Then, Frank Darabont's 2007 film adaptation, yes, the same genius behind The Walking Dead and The Shawshank Redemption. And finally, the 2017 television series, which attempted to modernize the story for a new generation. Each version has its own personality, though some are more faithful than others to the original material. Spoiler alert, Darabont's film takes the crown in that aspect. Think of these three versions as variations on the same terrifying melody. The fundamental elements are there. A supernatural mist that envelops a mountain town, very Silent Hill-like, a mortal danger for anyone brave or foolish enough to venture into it, and that inevitable descent into collective madness that reminds us of works like Lord of the Flies, or even recent episodes of The Last of Us. The military plays its role in all versions, though each handles this military presence in a unique and provocative way. The film immerses us in this nightmare with Swiss watch precision. 2 hours of pure, undiluted terror, where every scene, every moment of tension is calibrated to maximize emotional impact. It's as if Darabont had created the perfect blend between Carpenter's The Thing and Lovecraftian cosmic horror. The series, on the other hand, takes its time. 10 episodes, totaling approximately 8 hours, expanding the universe similarly to how The Haunting of Hill House transformed a short story into a complex family saga. The result? The film has been acclaimed as a masterpiece of modern horror, while the series, well, let's say it failed to captivate audiences enough to guarantee a second season. The film faithfully follows the path laid out by King. After a devastating storm that could rival any natural disaster from The Day After Tomorrow, a diverse group of people becomes trapped in a supermarket when the mist engulfs the town. It's like Dawn of the Dead, but with a Lovecraftian twist. The shopping center becomes humanity's last bastion against incomprehensible horrors. They quickly discover that venturing into the mist means certain death, establishing a premise that reminds us of classics like Night of the Living Dead, where external danger transforms an everyday space into a psychological prison. The series, however, takes a more contemporary and expansive approach, as if American Horror Story had merged with Dark. It presents us with a family that could have come from any current teen drama. A mother who had her daughter very young and struggles with trust issues, similar to the dynamic we see in Sharp Objects. A 17-year-old daughter seeking independence in a world that seems to conspire against her, reminiscent of characters from Euphoria, and a party that triggers traumatic events that will change their lives forever. The plot takes a dark turn when the protagonist's best friend, who happens to be gay, commits an unforgivable act that subverts audience expectations, similar to the narrative twists in Game of Thrones. It's a risky approach that attempts to address contemporary social issues within the horror genre framework, something that series like Lovecraft Country have handled successfully. The series' subplots multiply like the branches of a dark tree. We have a man who emerges disoriented from the forest after the mist apparently kills his dog, a story reminiscent of the mysteries in Dark and True Detective. We also follow a recovering addict whose quest for redemption could have come straight from Breaking Bad or Sharp Objects. These characters converge at the local police station, like pieces of a macabre puzzle, creating dynamics reminiscent of the best moments of human tension from The Walking Dead or The Stand. King describes the mist's origin through Project Arrowhead with scientific precision that would make Michael Crichton proud, and reminds us of the failed experiments in Stranger Things and Portal. The film maintains this premise almost intact, while the series takes a more psychological turn, transforming the mist into something closer to Tarkovsky's Stalker Zone or the mental horrors of Silent Hill. In the book and film, the emerging creatures seem to come straight from H.P. Lovecraft's most disturbing dreams, with a physical presence reminiscent of monsters from Pacific Rim or Cloverfield. The monsters King describes in the novel are truly memorable. Giant tentacles that would make the Pirates of the Caribbean Kraken look small, flying spiders that would give nightmares to the bravest arachnophobes, and creatures that seem taken from Jurassic Park after a failed experiment. The film translates these descriptions with impressive visual effects that rival Guillermo del Toro's work in Pan's Labyrinth. The series instead opts for more psychological horror, similar to the approach in Bird Box or A Quiet Place, where what we don't see is more terrifying than what we can see. A crucial element in all versions is Mrs. Carmody's transformation into a fanatical religious leader, a narrative arc that resonated with particular force during the darkest moments of the 2020 pandemic. The novel and film masterfully explore how fear and isolation can turn ordinary people into followers of extreme ideologies, reminiscent of works like The Stanford Prison Experiment or series like The Leftovers. The series significantly alters this dynamic, diluting this powerful social commentary with additional subplots that, while interesting, disperse the emotional impact. The series also incorporates a controversial hospital subplot that seems inspired by the darkest seasons of American Horror Story and the disturbing experiments of Outlast. A mad doctor performs deadly experiments on patients while an accomplice eliminates witnesses, creating an atmosphere reminiscent of the most disturbing moments from Session 9 Inches or Shutter Island. This deviation from the original material, though intriguing, feels closer to the body horror of the human centipede than King's characteristic psychological terror. The endings of the three versions diverge fascinatingly. King, in the novel, leaves us with an ambiguous ending reminiscent of Cormac McCarthy's The Road, or the enigmatic closure of Inception. The film takes a more definitive and devastating turn that, although departing from the original material, achieves an emotional impact comparable to modern cinema's most memorable endings, like The Sixth Sense or Planet of the Apes. The moment when the father makes that final decision, only for the army to appear minutes later, is an emotional blow that rivals the best endings of Black Mirror. The series concludes with a group of survivors, including the father, daughter, wife, addict, and police officer, who turns out to be the protagonist's biological father, a twist that seems more fitting for Days of Our Lives than a post-apocalyptic horror story. The ending incorporates conspiracy elements worthy of X-Files or Fringe, with military personnel feeding people to the mist as if it were a hungry Lovecraftian entity and a mysterious train that leaves more questions than answers, similar to the end of Westworld's first season. The series began to find its true potential in the second half, when revelations started flowing like an overflowing river. However, by keeping too many secrets for a second season that never came, the first was left without the necessary strength to maintain public interest. It's as if Lost had been canceled after its first season, leaving us with more questions than answers and a sense of wasted potential. For all these reasons, both the novel and the film remain the superior versions of The Mist, although the series has interesting elements that make us wonder what could have been with more time to develop its ideas. As in any great horror story, the final decision about which version to explore remains in your hands. What do you think? Have you experienced any of these versions of The Mist? Which did you find most effective? Do you think the series deserved a second season to develop its ambitious ideas? What other Stephen King adaptations would you like us to analyze in future videos? Leave your opinions in the comments, and if this analysis helped you decide which version to explore, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more similar content. You can also hit the bell icon to not miss any of our future analyses. See you in the next video, knowledge seekers.